So we are diving into something that I think a lot of people heading into international study or work kind of get the jitters about. The IELTS listening test.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a guide here that's going to help us unpack some of the trickiest parts.
Absolutely.
And hopefully give you guys listening a bit of a leg up.
You know, I was looking through this earlier, and I was really surprised. Even I learned a thing or two. Like, did you know that there are 4 sections to this thing?
Right.
And each one, like, ramps up the difficulty?
Yeah.
And they throw in different accents, too.
Absolutely.
Just to keep you on your toes.
It's true. They really don't make it easy, do they?
No.
That's why this guide's so helpful, though. It really breaks it down, step by step.
Yeah.
Gives you some strategies that you can actually use.
Yeah.
So you can go in there feeling a bit more confident.
So let's jump right in. The guide starts off by really emphasizing how important it is to just understand the format.
Right. So 4 sections, 10 questions each.
Mm-hmm.
So 40 questions total. And they cover, they run the gamut.
Yeah.
From like casual conversations all the way to like
Academic lectures.
Yeah, like a full-on lecture. But, it's not just about knowing like the little trivia bits of information.
No, not at all. I think the way to think about it is if you can walk into that room, where you're taking the test and you know exactly what to expect.
Right.
You're already one step ahead.
Yeah.
Less anxiety.
Total.
More focus in your preparation.
Yeah.
That's like the recipe for success right there.
And they actually give you a really practical tip right off the bat, which is familiarize yourself with all the different types of questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got your multiple choice, your fill in the blanks, matching, short answers. You got to be ready for anything.
Yeah. Because each one, you approach it a bit differently.
Yeah.
It's like having different tools in your toolbox.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to know which tool to use for which job.
Totally. And speaking of tools, let's talk about time management.
Okay.
Because this is one where the guide's like, okay, listen up. This is a tricky one. You get 30 seconds to read the questions before the audio starts.
Right.
Then, bam. It's go time.
Right.
You're scribbling your answers down. And then after the audio is done, you get a whole 10 minutes to transfer those answers onto the answer sheet. And that might sound like a lot of time.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But picture yourself in that test room.
Yeah.
Right. Your heart's pounding. The clock is ticking.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to make sure your answers are legible.
Right.
You're checking everything twice.
Okay.
And you can't leave any blanks. Like, every point counts.
Every single one. Oh my gosh, I can feel it already.
Right.
The pressure. So what's the trick? What do we do?
Practice, practice, practice. And not just any old practice. Use those mock tests.
Yeah.
Time yourself. You really got to simulate the pressure of the real deal.
Oh, okay.
Get comfortable with that ticking clock.
Yeah.
So you don't freeze up on test day.
All right. Now, for a tip that honestly, to me, sounds a little bit like having a superpower. Prediction.
Okay.
What are we reading minds here?
Not quite. But it's about using the question that you're looking at.
Okay.
To get a sense of what you should be listening for.
Okay.
So is it, for example, going to be a time?
Right.
A place? A name? A number?
Right.
It's like you're narrowing down your focus.
Yeah.
You're using a magnifying glass to hone in on the important stuff.
So the example they give in the guide, if the lecture begins at blank, you're obviously going to be listening for a time.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You're being strategic with your listening, right?
Yeah.
By predicting what kind of answer it's going to be.
Yeah.
You're more likely to catch it when it comes up.
Oh, that makes sense. And the guide suggests using those gap fill exercises in the practice tests.
Yeah.
To really train that prediction muscle. It's like they're giving us the cheat codes to the game.
Exactly. Exactly. And don't just stop at filling in the blanks.
Oh, okay.
Go back and look at the transcript.
Okay.
And see how what you thought you were going to hear lines up with what was actually said.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, this is the part that I think trips up a lot of people. Synonyms.
Oh, yeah.
And paraphrasing.
Right.
Apparently, the IELTS just loves
Boy.
to, mess with us by using different words in the audio.
Absolutely.
Than what's written in the question.
But it's not just about, being sneaky.
Yeah.
They're testing whether you really understand the meaning.
Right.
Not just recognizing words.
Okay.
They want to see if you've grasped the concepts.
So they give a great example in the guide, which is the question might say, the project was completed successfully.
Right.
But then the audio is like, They managed to finish the project without any issues.
Totally. Same idea, different words.
Yeah.
And that's where, knowing your synonyms comes in handy.
So don't get hung up on trying to find like a perfect word match.
Right.
Think about the meaning instead.
Yeah. Think about what are the different ways that they could express that same idea.
Oh, okay. So how do we train our brains to do that? Like, how do we get ready for this?
Honestly, the guide suggests something that sounds kind of fun. Start a synonym list.
Okay.
Seriously.
Yeah.
As you're working through the practice materials, when you see a word, jot down some synonyms.
Okay.
Turn it into a game. Like, how many different ways can you say this?
Oh, I like that.
It's not just about expanding your vocabulary.
Yeah.
It's about making all those paraphrases less scary.
It's like a word puzzle. Okay, now let's talk about keywords.
Oh.
Keywords are they're like those little signposts in the jungle of information.
Right. They're your anchors.
Yeah.
Your lifesavers in a sea of words.
They tell us what's important. Names, dates, numbers, places, that kind of thing. And the guide has this great example.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine the audio says something like,
okay,
the seminar will take place in room 203 starting at 10:30 a.m. You wouldn't try to write that whole sentence down, would you?
No way.
Just room 203, 10:30 a.m.
Exactly. You got the important bits.
You got it. And they also say, and this is a bonus tip,
okay,
embrace abbreviations in symbols.
Absolutely.
They're your secret weapons for saving time.
Time is precious in this test.
Yeah. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit more empowered now. But there's another, I guess you could call it a challenge, the accent adventure.
Yeah.
You've got British accents, Australian accents, North American accents. It's like a world tour of sounds.
And it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because in international settings, you're going to encounter all sorts of accents.
Yeah.
So it's good to get used to them.
Yeah. So what do we do?
Immerse yourself.
Okay.
TED Talks, BBC News, Australian podcasts. It's like you're studying abroad.
Yeah.
From your couch.
I like it. But before we get too carried away, there's something really important that we need to talk about. All these great tips, all these strategies.
Yeah.
They're no good if
you're not paying attention.
Yeah, like if you're so distracted by your neighbor's pencil tapping.
Right. Or thinking about what you're going to have for lunch.
Yeah, exactly. Focus is key.
It really is. Think of it like a meditation on keywords and meaning.
Okay.
You got to block everything else out.
Yeah.
Zero in on what matters.
Yeah.
And let those answers come to you.
It's like they say, you can have all the ingredients for a delicious meal, but if you don't turn the oven on, it's not going to happen.
Exactly. You need that focused attention.
And the guide has one last tip that I think is just gold. Write your answers down immediately.
Yes. Don't wait until the end.
Don't rely on your memory.
Your memory's not your friend in this test.
In that moment.
Right.
It's like trying to remember like a growing list of items.
Yes.
They just keep adding more and more.
Exactly. Your brain can only hold so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Write it down. Free up some space.
So it's like they're handing us the keys to success.
Step by step.
One tip at a time.
Absolutely.
So are you ready to tackle part 2 of this deep dive?
Oh, I am ready. Let's do it.
Let's go. All right, so we're back, ready to keep digging into these IELTS listening secrets. We've covered a lot already.
Yeah.
But there's still so much more to unpack.
Definitely.
And I'm realizing, going through this, that a lot of these tips, they're not just for the IELTS.
Right.
They're good for just becoming a better listener in general,
Absolutely. I totally agree.
When live.
I mean, think about it. We live in a world that is just like bombarded with information all the time. And being able to actually listen and focus.
Right.
And pick out those important bits.
Yeah.
That's a skill that can help you in any area of life.
Totally. But for now, we got to stay focused on the task at hand.
Right.
Conquering that IELTS listening test.
Right.
And speaking of focus, the guide spends a lot of time talking about how important it is to manage your time during the actual test.
Yeah.
We touched on this a little bit earlier, but I think it's worth revisiting.
Absolutely.
Because remember, you only get 10 minutes to transfer all your answers over to the answer sheet after that recording ends.
10 minutes.
And it might seem like enough time,
It does.
But I bet when you're in the thick of it...
Oh, it flies by.
Those minutes just...
Yeah, trust me.
Disappear.
It goes so fast.
Especially when you're thinking about, like, checking everything. Making sure your handwriting's legible.
Yeah.
You know, battling those test day nerves.
Oh, yeah, the nerves are real.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to practice that.
Right.
The more you simulate that transfer process during your mock tests,
the
more comfortable you'll become, the more efficient you'll be.
Right.
Like building muscle memory.
Right.
So when it comes to the real thing, it's like second nature.
It's like training for a marathon.
Exactly.
You don't just show up on race day and hope for the best.
Yeah. No, you got to put in the work beforehand.
You got to put in the miles.
Yeah, exactly.
So your body knows what to do.
And don't forget about spelling.
Oh, yeah.
Those spelling errors, they can really trip you up.
Yeah.
Take your time. Double check everything. Make sure it's crystal clear.
And no blanks.
Oh, no blanks.
Right. Like, even if you're not 100% sure, it's always better to make an educated guess.
At least try.
And to leave it empty. You never know. You might get lucky.
You never know. You might get lucky.
And there's no penalty. Right.
Exactly.
So you've got nothing to lose. All right, speaking of things you don't want to lose.
Okay.
Let's talk about focus.
Ah, yes, focus.
Because it is so easy to get distracted.
So easy.
Especially in, like, that exam room environment.
Right, like suddenly that little hum from the air conditioner is like the most interesting sound you've ever heard.
It's like a symphony orchestra, right?
Or like your neighbor's pencil tapping.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It becomes this like captivating rhythm.
It's so true.
It's like your brain is actively searching for distractions.
Yeah.
But you got to train your mind to stay focused.
Right.
Treat it like a meditation on keywords and meaning.
Yeah.
Block out the external noise.
Yeah.
Zero in on what you need to hear.
Yeah.
And let those answers flow.
Easier said than done, but...
Oh, it takes practice.
I think with practice, you can definitely cultivate that.
Absolutely.
That Zen-like focus.
Absolutely.
And here's a tip that I think can really help with that.
Okay.
Write your answers down immediately.
Yes. Don't wait.
Don't try to hold it all in your head.
Don't rely on your memory.
Don't rely on your memory.
Right. It's like
that moment.
Yeah, it's like that game.
Yeah.
Where you have to remember a list of items.
Yes.
And each round, they add another one.
Oh, yeah.
It's like impossible to keep it all straight.
It's impossible.
Your short-term memory, it can only handle so much.
Yeah.
So write it down.
Write it down.
Free up some space in your brain.
Get it on the paper.
Yeah.
Okay, now this next tip.
Okay.
This is one that, honestly, I struggle with.
Yeah.
Reviewing regularly.
Yeah.
It's not always the most exciting part of the learning process.
It's not the fun part, but it's so important.
But the guide really stresses, like, how crucial it is.
It is, because analyzing your mistakes.
Yeah.
That's where the real learning happens.
Right.
You can't just take a practice test and move on.
Right.
You got to go back and look at the transcript, figure out why you got something wrong.
Right.
Was it a vocabulary issue?
Yeah.
Did you misunderstand something?
Yeah.
Did the accent throw you off?
Yeah.
That's how you identify those weaknesses.
I think sometimes we're afraid to confront our mistakes.
Yeah, we don't like to look at them.
Yeah.
But actually, mistakes are our greatest teachers.
Totally.
That's where the real growth happens.
So let's say you notice, like, you're constantly messing up on questions that have to do with paraphrasing.
Right.
What could you do?
Well, you could focus on building up your synonym vocabulary.
Okay.
Maybe use flashcards, or, there's lots of vocabulary apps out there.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could even just start paying attention to how people paraphrase in everyday life.
Oh, interesting.
Like, listen to conversations.
Yeah.
Watch TV shows. Read articles.
Right.
Pay attention to how people express the same idea in different ways.
It's like becoming a language detective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not just learning words.
Right.
You're learning how to decode meaning.
Yeah. In different contexts.
Yeah.
And review doesn't have to be like dragging.
No, it doesn't.
Make
it fun.
Make it fun.
Maybe get a study buddy. Quiz each other.
Yeah.
Listen to podcasts together.
I love that.
Talk about what you learned.
Yeah, learning is always more fun when you're doing it with someone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it helps you stay accountable.
Yes, definitely.
Keeps you motivated.
And speaking of staying motivated,
okay,
it's important to remember that improving your IELTS listening score, it's a journey.
It is.
It's not a destination.
It's not, you do it overnight.
Right.
You got to be patient.
It's about building a solid foundation of skills and strategies through consistent practice and review.
Absolutely. Consistency is key.
It's not a quick fix.
It's not.
It's about developing those listening muscles.
Yeah.
And becoming a more confident and effective listener overall.
Exactly. And the best part is, these skills, they'll help you beyond the IELTS.
Totally.
They'll help you in your studies, in your work, in your life.
In everyday life, yeah.
Yeah. Strong listening skills are essential for good communication no matter what you're doing.
So as we're kind of wrapping up this part of the deep dive, let's just recap some of those essential takeaways.
Yeah, good idea.
We've talked about understanding the test format, managing your time effectively, predicting those answers, focusing on keywords, listening for synonyms and paraphrasing.
Important.
Dealing with those different accents. Staying focused.
Yes.
Writing down your answers immediately. All of those things.
All important.
And we also talked about, practicing with those real IELTS materials, reviewing your mistakes regularly, and finding ways to make the learning process fun and engaging.
Just enjoyable.
You don't have to tackle everything at once.
Right. Break it down. Start with one or two areas where you think, okay, I need to work on this. And gradually build up from there.
Yeah. Find what works for you.
Exactly. It's all about finding your own learning style.
Totally.
And remember, you're not alone in this. There are so many resources out there to help you prepare.
Teachers, tutors, fellow test takers.
Online courses, study groups, practice materials.
Yeah.
Reach out, ask for help.
There's a whole community out there.
There is.
And most importantly, believe in yourself.
Yes. You got this.
You got this.
It's all about having the right mindset and putting in the effort.
So I want to ask you, listening out there. What's your biggest fear about the IELTS listening test?
What are you most worried about?
Is it the time pressure?
Is it the accents?
Is it the paraphrasing?
Let us know.
Share your thoughts.
We'd love to hear from you.
And we'll be back soon.
We will.
With the final part of this deep dive. All right, so we're back for the final part of our IELTS listening deep dive. And as we've been going through all these tips and strategies, I keep thinking about something the guide emphasized, which is the importance of using real, authentic IELTS material.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For practice.
Yeah.
And it seems obvious.
It does.
But I think sometimes, we get so caught up in looking for that magic shortcut or that secret trick that we forget about the basics.
The fundamentals.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, trying to learn to play basketball by just watching videos, but never actually picking up a ball and shooting hoops.
Right.
You might learn some of the theory, but you're not going to develop those real-world skills.
Yeah, you need to get out there on the court.
Exactly, got to get on the court.
So when it comes to the IELTS listening test, where do we find those real deal practice material?
Well, the guide recommends sticking to official sources.
Okay.
So the IELTS website itself or reputable test preparation providers.
Okay.
Because those resources, they're designed to really mirror the actual test. The format, the content, the timing. So you're getting the most accurate simulation.
Yeah, it's like stepping onto that virtual court and playing the game as it's meant to be played.
Exactly.
And they also talk about how important it is to not just take the practice test and move on, but to actually go back and dig into those transcripts.
Oh, yeah, the transcripts are gold.
Watch the game replay.
Yeah, it's like watching the replay.
And really analyze your moves, see where you missed those opportunities.
Figure out where you went wrong.
And figure out how to up your game.
It's about understanding the why behind those incorrect answers.
Right.
Was it a vocabulary issue?
Right.
Did you misinterpret a synonym? Did the accent throw you off? That's what those transcripts can tell you.
Yeah, it's like having a coach, almost.
Exactly, like having a personal coach who can point out those blind spots and help you create a winning game plan.
And once you've kind of identified those areas where you need a little extra help, the guide says, focus your practice on those specific skills.
Work smarter, not harder, right?
Right, exactly.
If you know that numbers always trip you up, spend extra time practicing questions that involve numbers.
Right.
If you're shaky on Australian accents, immerse yourself in Aussie podcasts and TV shows.
Yeah, it's like going to the gym and really targeting those weak muscles.
Exactly. Isolate those muscles. Work on them specifically.
Yeah.
And watch them grow stronger.
What I'm realizing is that this whole process of prepping for the IELTS listening test, it's not just about acing the exam.
Right.
It's about building skills that'll actually help you in so many areas of life.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. The ability to listen effectively,
Yeah.
to focus, to understand meaning, to filter out distractions. Those are essential for success in any field.
Totally, totally. So as we're wrapping up this deep dive, I think the key takeaway is this. Anyone can improve their IELTS listening score.
Absolutely.
It's not about, some innate talent or a stroke of luck.
No.
It's about preparation, strategy, consistent practice.
Putting in the work.
Putting in the work, yeah. And it's about empowering yourself with the knowledge and the skills to succeed.
And believing in yourself.
And believing in yourself, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So to our listener out there, wherever you are on your IELTS journey, keep practicing, stay focused, and believe in yourself.
You can do it.
You got this.
And remember, you're not alone.
Right.
There's a whole community of learners and teachers and resources to support you. So reach out, ask questions.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to seek guidance.
And most importantly, have fun with it.
Yes. Make it enjoyable.
Embrace the challenge. Explore those accents.
Expand your vocabulary.
Yeah.
Discover the joy of becoming a better listener.
Who knows? You might even surprise yourself with what you're capable of achieving.
Absolutely.
So until next time, happy listening.